Hey, this is Matthew from Nerd News Today, and welcome back to our continuing coverage of San Diego Comic-Con 2019. Now, so far, up to date, we've been looking for the past 2 days at all the various action figure reveals that have been coming out from the showroom floor. So we've seen all sorts of different toys, action figures, some busts, and some statues, but we're going to take a look at a piece of news that is kind of outside of our usual boundary of coverage, and that's going to be dolls. So, we've looked at dolls sometimes in the past for a few reviews, and at Toy Fair we usually cover a bunch of them, but normally it's not really a thing we do here. But today there is a piece of news that just came out that I think is very newsworthy to what we were covering, especially at the San Diego Comic Con, and that's because there's essentially a new item that's kind of a merger of two pretty big power players in the toy world. So let's take a look at this right here. This is a new set of X-Men Barbie dolls. And yeah, you heard me right. That's X-Men Barbie dolls. So they're going to be available exclusively from GameStop. And the important reason why I keep saying Barbies is because Barbie is owned by Mattel. Marvel Legends is owned by Hasbro. So these are two of the biggest toy companies, the two biggest toy manufacturers basically out there. And they're more or less partnering together in some capacity, I must imagine, to make these dolls. I know like normally when it comes to rights and licensing rights, a company would probably own rights for X amount of things, a certain specific set of things. I would imagine here, based on the logo that they're using as well, that they must have had some kind of deal with Hasbro to be able to make these figures. So that's kind of mind-blowing to me also that, again, Marvel has ultimately the final say. Marvel as the franchise gets to say who goes with what. So to me, it's kind of crazy to think that Marvel would be, okay with this, to basically tell Hasbro, yeah, sorry bros, we've been with you for many, many years, but we're going to go do our dolls with this other company who's your top rival. Sorry. It's a little confusing to me, but it's pretty cool. This is kind of some big breaking ground here, to be honest, that's being set with these dolls. And here's a look at them and how the packages are going to be. So obviously you guys already saw now the three dolls in this wave that are going to be kicking this off is Storm, Mystique, and Dark Phoenix. Now, I don't know if this is going to be an expansive line beyond this initial launch. I don't know. I would hope that it would be, though, because these do look pretty good. And I feel like it's kind of a waste to get this whole license and only do 3 Barbies with it. But most likely it's kind of like a testing the waters. We'll have to wait and see how this initial line does, and we'll make some decisions after that. But again, it's a pretty big deal that Marvel said, hey, we're going to go to this other company to make these toys. That's a pretty big surprise. I don't know if maybe Mattel and Hasbro are working together, though. That could actually be the alternative here, is that those two companies have formed some kind of unholy alliance for a short amount of time to work together and make these toys. But right now that's kind of over my pay grade. I don't really have the answers to that. But it is interesting to note, especially because, we were looking yesterday at a lot of WWE action figures, and we noted specifically there's a Seth Rollins figure and a Johnny Gargano figure. And Seth Rollins had an Infinity Gauntlet outfit recently. Gargano had like a Venom-inspired outfit, but they couldn't actually make them Venom. They couldn't actually make it an Infinity Gauntlet because, well, obviously clearance rights. They couldn't clear the Marvel licensing to get like the Infinity Stones on his gear or whatever it was. They couldn't really get it to be exactly like it was when they made it. So, it's kind of interesting that they can't do that, but here we've got this. So it kind of just blows my mind a little bit how this is all working out. And that's, again, why I want to know more details about what's going on behind the scenes and what's causing all this commotion. You know what I'm saying, folks? So here's a look at the dolls, and to be quite fair, they actually look really great. I'm not a doll collector. Andrea is, and you know Andrea from our site. She does a lot of our toy reviews with us and all sorts of other great videos. Apparently she has become a doll collector. She didn't expect that to happen, but it's happened. In fact, when Toys R Us was going out of business, and this is related to this because Madame Alexander had a series of Marvel-inspired dolls. When I say inspired, I say that because they weren't like these here. Like this, they weren't necessarily actual female characters, although some were. But a lot of them were inspired by. So we had a doll that was inspired by Captain America, inspired by Iron Man. You had a Spider-Gwen doll, so that was an actual female character. But you had like a doll inspired by Black Panther. So they were all basically wearing dresses that would resemble elements from those franchises. In this case, we have dolls that are straight up those characters. And those characters have action figures produced by Hasbro. So again, mind blown. But I will say, you can see this here and throughout these photos that were provided by Marvel. You can see that there's a really great attention to detail. You can see here on the sash she has her Phoenix symbol. Mystique has her belt of skulls and the little skull on her forehead. Storm has the brooch and she has her headdress. They've chosen really interesting outfits to start with and good signature outfits as well. I got to say the detail is very good. and I'm liking also. And I know there's been a little bit of controversy over the footwear. I've noticed from a few other people. Some people want them to have all high heels. Others are kind of on the fence. I think the Storm outfit. I think her outfit actually went both ways. I think she might have had flat feet and heels at some point. And again, same with Mystique actually has the heels. I don't know if Dark Phoenix ever normally had heels or not. I want to say she didn't, but off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you guys. So if anybody out there can tell me about their footwear, please go ahead. It's pretty interesting to know. And another thing to note, by the way, is you can see in that photo of Mystique that her knees are double jointed, because these aren't just plain old, bargain bin Barbies. These are a higher grade signature series of Barbies. So she's got double jointed articulated knees. She's going to probably have, I assume, double jointed elbow articulation as well. She has the ball joint in her arms and her shoulders. So you're actually going to get a pretty full range of articulation here. That's cool. But these are collector dolls, so you're not going to necessarily take these out of the package. You're not going to necessarily be taking like doll photography like a figure collector would do, I don't think, and posing them outside or in dioramas, doing that. So I don't really know how important the articulation actually is, but to be fair, it's nice that you have it so that you can get some dynamic poses like this one here. So if you do want to take them out of the box, you can do some interesting stuff with them. They're not just going to be standing up straight or being held up on one of those doll stands. Again, I'm not a doll collector, so this is another kind of point of contention for me with these figures, despite how much I love them, how much they think they look really great. These are going to be sold for $55 a pop, and that bugs me a little bit, because when I think of that price point, I'm thinking of a different type of value. My mind goes to, like, let's say Diamond Select, who we looked at a little bit earlier, and they have statues. They have PVC statue dioramas that are like a foot tall, same scale essentially, for that price, actually a little bit cheaper. You could compare this also to, let's say, a Mezco 112 collective item. Those can range anywhere from 50 to 100 usually. You're getting a figure that's half the size, but it has the fabric clothes. It also has multiple sets of hands, sometimes different heads, lots of accessories. This is a $55 doll. You're getting what you see in these photos. Nothing else comes with them. What you see is what you get. Again, I'm not a doll collector, and I know, again, the Madame Alexander dolls we talked about, those were also actually the same price. I think they were normally $50 each, and I think the Black Panther one was like $60, it was a little bit more expensive because it was a larger doll, had a bigger dress. With these, because the outfits are a lot more simplistic than those Madame Alexanders especially, I don't know if I'm okay with that price point. I think it's kind of a bit much. I could see these as being closer to like 30, maybe 40 at most. I think you're kind of pushing it. I think 55 is a really hard push, especially for an exclusive that you're going to have to hunt down. I don't really see the value for $55. And here is the pre-order page, because that's already live. So if you want to actually pre-order these now, you can get them. There's a bundle available for $165. So that's the better value. And these guys are not going to come out until October. And oddly enough, for whatever reason, the bundle, you have to wait to the end of the month, whereas the single dolls you can just get right at the start of the month. I don't really understand that either. That's GameStop. That's their distribution nonsense. That's on them. But, overall, I actually do really, really like these dolls. I think it's a really innovative idea. I think it's a great way to celebrate Marvel's 80th anniversary. And it's a good way to get another type of collector base into these and get them invested into the Marvel Universe. For doll collectors, basically up until now, they have not had much in terms of Marvel dolls to look at. Toy Biz did a line of, I think they were 8-inch dolls back in the 90s. They weren't that great. There's, some Mego-style dolls at Megos. Again, they're even smaller, and that's a real special kind of niche for collectors. Barbie's a pretty universal brand, and bringing the X-Men into that universal brand makes it, very appealable to a lot of collectors out there. A lot of mass market appeal now for these. So, it is going to open up some eyes. It's going to probably bring some new collectors in to get them. But, my mind just goes back to that price point. So I don't know if I'm down with that, but I am down with these dolls. I think they're a great idea. I think they look amazing, and I know Andrew's going to buy them, so you'll be probably seeing reviews of them at some point on our website. There's going to be at least some other kind of discussion with these dolls, because they do look great. There's no denying that. So that is our quick little look at this piece of pretty weird but important doll news from San Diego Comic-Con 2019. I didn't think we'd be covering dolls this weekend, but lo and behold, here we are. So again, that's going to be available from GameStop, $55 a piece, or $165 for that big bundle of all three. You guys out there, let me know what you think. Do you think these dolls actually look pretty good, and do you think that they're a value at that price point? Let me know what you think. And more importantly, let me know what you think about a future wave. We don't know if they're going to make more of these just yet, but who would you want to see them do in Wave 2 or even Wave 3? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll make sure to give you guys some chat time later today. So thanks for watching. Please make sure to like this video, share it out there on your social media pages, and go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you can get notifications about when we go live for our live streams during Sdcc and all of our other videos that we're doing this weekend. We got a lot of things to cover. Still so much news we haven't gotten to yet, so thank you for watching. Hope you'll stick with us this whole weekend. Once again, I'm Matthew from Nerd News Today. We appreciate your time, And stay tuned for more SDCC 2019 coverage coming very, very soon.